Hey, welcome back to TML Weekly, Season 3, Episode 3. We're just going to do a little quick hit tonight. We caught up last week for a while, talk about the last couple games and what games are coming, thanks to our sponsors, Bjorn Hockey and Don Cherry Sports Grill. Before we get going here, I got a buddy that down in Denver that I know he tunes in sometimes and just had a medical procedure and is recovering in the hospital. So Big Mike Dobbs, and we're thinking about you up here, buddy, and get better, and we'll talk soon. And speaking of Mike, so his back and forth, his brother Bill's a good buddy of mine as well, and we were talking about something this morning via text, and I said, "Oh, Toronto came in hot last night, eh?" So Bill's connected with the Avalanche, and he goes, "Yeah, well, he played our third goalie." So before all you Toronto Maple Leaf fans line up and get the parade route, very good point. And Toronto's goalie was the best player on the ice. Let's face it. We'll talk about that first because I think that's what everybody on everybody's mind right now. So. Yeah. I mean, that's a tremendous confidence booster to go into that rink with that team humming the way they are and weather the storm in the first. You just set off the air. It could have been 8-1 Colorado after one if it wasn't for Joe Wall. And then kind of, like we said last week, 34's got to step up in big moments. He did. Wasn't a bigger moment all year than that goal he scored. That was huge. No. Massive. And I like the swagger when he went by the crowd and there was a couple of Avs fans giving him the one finger salute. And that's what we need. That's the Austin Matthews that we all kind of fell in love with as Leaf fans, that he stepped up. I remember all those overtime goals he would score, whether it be regular season or what. When they needed a big goal, he seemed to come through. I hope this kind of ignites him because he was tremendous. It was great. It was a great hockey game. I'm exhausted today because, of course, that game starts here in Halifax at 11 o'clock at night. Well, I go to bed at like 9. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay up and I'm going to watch a bit of it just to see a couple shifts. And then I see they got the Norwich jerseys on. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't not watch this. So I'm going to watch the first period. Wow. I watched the whole thing. Tired all day, and but it was worth it. It was, yeah. I mean, I just thought Colorado. I mean, they're good. Cale Makar. We talked about it last week. Like it's really enjoy this kid because he's going to be the best defenseman of all time. There's no question. And I've thought that for a few years, but just seeing what he continues to do on a night-to-night basis. His vision, is impeccable, and he gets to the places that no other defenseman does, no other player does.
Do you want to know what the biggest impediment to Cale Makar is?
What?
That he plays in Colorado.
Yeah,
that is the biggest. Yeah. I'm telling you, if Cale Makar, can you imagine? Let's just press pause on this for a second. Can you imagine if Cale Makar played for the Montreal Canadiens?
Oh yeah, I mean,
right? He would be as big as Sidney Crosby is. I'm telling you that. I
think he's getting there already. And Colorado, I was.
No, he is with hockey people though, John. This is what I'm saying though.
Colorado,
hockey
don't
people
yourself
know
about Colorado. And we talked about the kind of the sub, prime market. So you got your original 6, and then obviously all the Canadian teams. But we talked about this last week about the last several teams that win cups. And Colorado is a hockey. I mean, there's a lot of guys that stayed. That's very similar to St. Louis. So a lot of the St. Louis alumni, the Kelly Chases of the world, and Keith Tkachuk is a perfect example. That's where the Tkachuk boys learned to play and played on the travel teams, and they really built the hockey community. Same things happen in Colorado. I mean, there's a lot. It's a very desirable place to live. You got the mountains. The weather's not horrible. It snows a bunch, but then it melts. And you got all the major sports. You're connected. So the major hub airport. You can go anywhere from there. and it's a really really desirable place for people to retire to. And what happens is when hockey players or football players or back whatever it is retire and stay in the community and raise their children there, you're getting expert coaches, you're getting mentors
built in. No, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, no. Anyway, Billy had a good point. Third goalie. Yeah. But he's on your team, and you could arguably say,
hey, maybe Joseph Wall. Maybe Joseph Wall right now is our third goalie.
Right.
Who knows?
Exactly.
Right.
Speaking of that, why don't you lead into the three horse race here for the Toronto Net?
Like with no pun to Jonas Gustafsson, let's talk about the three-headed monster here. Listen, I took a tremendous amount of heat last year, when I said Dennis Hildeby's fine, and in 2 years that Dennis Hildeby was going to be the number one goalie. Don't worry about it; everything's fine. I still think that Dennis Hildeby of the three is going to be the best NHL goaltender. Of the three. That's what I believe. 6'7", covers everywhere, has got great movement, plays the right way. Goalies they're enigmatic, right? And you got to have a good team playing in front of you. Usually when he was playing last year, he was playing, all the back-to-back games. Guys were exhausted playing in front of him, all that kind of jazz. Dennis Hildeby is going to be fine.
He stayed healthy too. Because a lot of times there's a knock on guys that are that big, right?
Correct.
They tend.
And ironically enough, we've got the two 1A and 1B goalies who, for periods of time, they are elite level goaltenders. And I don't think you can look at the career of Joe Woll and say for a period of time he's not elite. I just watched the way he's played the last week and a half. That's elite level goaltending. And very much in line with what you see from Stolarz. For blocks of time, they can both be fantastic. The knock on both of them, which ultimately is a conversation that we might need to have at some point with Tree Living in tying yourself to two goalies.
He hasn't been answering my call, so
he hasn't. Okay, well, see, come on, Brad, you got to do better than that, buddy. But like at a certain point, you've got to kind of ask yourself, like we've tied ourselves now into two goalies who can't stay healthy. Both are great. Like nobody. I don't think you could watch that game or see any of their performances and be critical of either the way the Woll or Stolarz has played. But John, we've talked about it a trillion times on this show. The number one asset that you can be to your team is available.
Yeah,
the number
absolutely.
As a pro athlete,
all three of those guys are healthy going into the playoffs. That's a really, really good problem to have.
That's a fantastic
because we've seen over multiple years with multiple teams, some that had success and some that didn't. You got to have a guy that can go in, and it's not always. Look at the Skinner and Pickard a couple years ago. You didn't even know who was playing from one night to the next, and they got to Game 7 of the final, right?
Twice.
So you have to have that next guy up mentality. And if you have three of them that you're comfortable with, perfect. I saw an article today, and this was one of the MSM guys in Toronto, one of the hockey guys. And it was like, so when Stolarz comes back and he's healthy, which one of the three do you trade to, bolster your D or get a top 6 foot, whatever? None. No. You use other assets.
It is a fair question, though, and I think it would actually depend on what we're doing here. Like to be fair, I think it would depend on what it is, what's coming back. I don't think. I put it this way. I tell you, I don't think it's Hildeby that goes.
No, I don't either. It'd be one
if
of the
it's
other
anybody,
two, and I would think it would probably be Stolarz because
that's correct.
Woll is homegrown, right?
That is correct. I think so too. And I listen. I do think if you've watched Stolarz, there's value there. If you're a team and you're looking for goaltending, and let's be honest, everybody is. Well, not everybody, but just about everybody right now with goaltenders across the league. Everybody's looking for if not a 1A, a 1B. And I mean,
but you'd have to be really careful you trade a guy like that too. It would have to be West, and it would have to be somebody that you didn't think that you could meet in the final. at
Well,
the end of the day, because
the question then,
he's
though,
good.
John, is if you think you're getting to the final and you're afraid of Stolars on the other end, that's okay. Like I think I think we
Yeah,
take
good
that
point.
every day of the week.
Yeah, good point. No, I get,
You know,
I get it. I just for the first every year there seems to be a question mark of who's the number one and is he healthy. If you get all three of these guys healthy at the trade deadline, I'd be really, really wary about making that. And like it depends on the return. It depends,
100%.
and you don't really know what you need still, because I got to take some words I had about Riley back. He's had a pretty good couple games.
Listen, I don't care. I'm not taking any words about Morgan
Well,
Riley.
I'm taking them back.
Zero. Zip. None. None.
Well,
none.
I can accept when maybe I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying that they should move on from him. I'm saying that he's played pretty well the last couple of nights.
I can acknowledge that Morgan Riley's played better.
Yeah.
In the last 5 or 6 games. Yeah. I can totally acknowledge that. It does not change my position that Morgan Riley is a shell of the player that Morgan Riley was even a year and a half ago.
Absolutely.
Right?
Would there be a fit, do you think? I know Dougie Hamilton's on the block. Would there be a fit, in your opinion, if you've got a Keefe, Sheldon Keefe, who has obviously a close working relationship for 5 years with Riley, who was a big part of that. I know they want to move on from Hamilton. They had a deal in place. He balked at the team in San Jose, and now he's basically a sitting duck, right? It's one of those almost like who is the captain of the Rain? Trouba. That's like that. We don't want you. So waive your no trade, or we're going to buy you out, or we're going to cut you, or we're going to do something. We don't want you here anymore. And I don't know why. I don't have any intel why. I think some of it has to do with honestly, with the fact that the younger Hughes kid is a very, they want him to be a similar style of player as Dougie Hamilton, right? An offensive defenseman that maybe can lead a power play. And and they signed him to a ridiculous deal in the offseason, I think, thinking that they're going to be able to get Quinn and have all the brothers. So he had a big stick there, right? In that negotiation. He's not an $8 million defenseman. Not even close, right? So you got a split mindset in New Jersey that, who's your guy? Is it Doug Hamilton, or is it, the Luke Hughes, right? So I think he's on the outs. It sounds like it. They benched him for a game.
He's clearly on the outs.
Yeah. So Toronto, would they be in on it? For sure. But Toronto would have the bigger stick here, because they could say, well, yeah, we'll take him off your hands in his deal, but you got to take Riley. Maybe, a couple of the guys we talked about that they've tried to move on from, the Domies of the world at different times. They've, they want Domi out, and then other times he's your best player. So you never know. It depends on which way the wind blows. Well, in games and periods, I'm just saying.
Periods.
It's not always like Ty Domi's the worst player in the history, right? I liked when he fought the big guy the other night in the Vancouver game.
Full marks for that.
Yeah, looked like his, he's fighting his uncle. Full marks. He was a foot taller. But anyway, you never know. There's lots of chatter about.
The way I look at it is does Dougie Hamilton have warts in his game? Absolutely. Right. As a right shot defenseman who can carry a power play, is Dougie Hamilton something that just about 85% of teams in the NHL could use? Absolutely. Yeah. Is Dougie Hamilton's $9 million salary over the next 2 seasons prohibitive? That's a big chunk, right? And so any deal that you're going to work out with Jersey is going to have to be, you're eating, if not half, you're eating close to half. And then, what kind of sweeteners involved and going back and forth. Not shockingly, I say it looks absolutely fantastic on the AHL coach, proving yet again he can't manage a team, shouldn't be in the NHL, and is a terrible all-round everything. But that's just me and my weekly diatribe on Sheldon Keefe. Shout out to your buddy John Bray, who says we should get rid of Stolars to a team that needs him for a top 6 forward like Edmonton that needs somebody better than Jerry.
Listen, I'd do it for Draisaitl or McDavid.
Done.
Give me one of those two. And I'll throw in Domi and
Michelli. We'll give you Michelli.
I'll give you Cowan if it's McDavid.
Ooh, okay.
Get,
no, but like, and let's be honest. If we're gonna talk, let's talk about Edmonton for just a hot second here. Or is anybody fooling themselves to believe that Tristan Jarry is the answer in net there? I'm not.
You know what? And again, John,
it was worth a roll the dice down the table.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's you're better off doing that because lightning gets caught in a bottle at the goaltending position. And the goaltending position, and I've said this on the air, off the air, to whoever would listen for as long as I've been involved in the game. Any goaltender that's playing a major junior level and starting games in the O, the dub, or the Q,
you said it for years.
Yep. That guy could be the best goaltender in the world because athletically, they're trained as kids now. They're flexible like no other. They're enormous, the goaltenders now, and athletic, right? So the ones that figure it out are the ones that can mentally deal with the adversity that a game, a period, a shift, a season, a playoff round. If you can fight through those kind of demons or personal demons that you get, and you would get, especially in a market like an Edmonton or Toronto or those places, those are the guys that succeed. And like we mentioned before, the guys that stay healthy, the guys that are healthy. Right. And guess what? We'll take a stinker every 8 or 9 games, and he lets in the first 3 shots, but he gives us a chance to win the other 8 or 9 out of 10. Right. And he's going to play 60, and we know it. And there's no, who's our 3rd, 4th, 5th guy on the depth chart? You got that guy, and there's a handful of them around. But
okay, so I got another
question.
I got a question that's come in here from Austin Juby, who wants to know what has changed. Is it just goaltending, or is it everybody in general? So,
well, they're sticking with it, right? If you look back through hockey history and at every level, and look at champions and how teams won, and made it to the end, the one thing in common is structure. It's we're going to play like this, and we don't care who we're playing and who you're matching against us. We're going to play the same way. We're going to be very heavy on your defensemen in the corners. We're going to hit every chance we can. We're going to predominantly dump and chase unless we have an odd man rush, and then but if it's an even man rush, we're getting it deep and we're pounding your D. And so expect it. We've got some very big, heavy forwards right through our lineup, even in the top 6, right? If you look at a guy like a Nyes that just is heavy and, big man. When Austin starts to move his feet and it doesn't have to throw hits, but use that big frame to protect the puck, right? That's very hard on a defenseman. But they're not getting away from it. In the past, I've thought they'll maybe get down 2-0 in a game, and then it's like, oh, here it's pond hockey again, and everybody's going for a skate, and you're doing flybys, and you're not hitting anybody anymore because you're too worried about trying to chip the puck past. No, just keep doing it. Trust the process.
And Johnny, that is the difference between Sheldon Keefe and Craig Berube. 100%.
It's experience, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Call it whatever you want, but the guy behind the bench matters. And if you'll notice, when we were going through the doldrums, Chief was calm, right? He was calm.
Yeah.
And when he was frustrated, what did he do? He sat there and said, talk to them.
Yeah.
I know how I want them to play.
They've got to
commit to doing it.
Yeah.
They've got to commit to doing it. And you know what? For everybody that was, the coaches lost the team, all that, the other thing that we have to acknowledge is what's the cap now? 93 million, 91 million, somewhere around there.
They got space.
We had $42 million out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Like not playing. And so when you take that amount of money that is elite level talent, we're not talking about, the fourth line guys that weren't playing. We were talking about Matthews and Nylander and Carlo
Right.
and Tanev. And you start taking those guys out of anybody's lineup, and your goaltenders are hurt and guys are not playing. Listen, you're gonna have struggles, man. I don't care who it is, right? You take Makar and McKinnon and everybody else out of that Colorado lineup, and all of a sudden you're gonna go, I think that's a beatable team. Well, no kidding, champ. Like, thanks for the point tips, right? Leafs, the Leafs that you saw when the world was ending and it was an 18-wheeler going off a cliff. Shout out to Brian Burke. We're not that team. We're probably not this team who's 8-0-2 in the last 10. We're probably not them either, but we're going to ride it while we can. We are a very, very, very good hockey team when healthy, who can compete with anybody in the conference. Anybody, bar none, no problem, every night. And so if you were jumping off the bandwagon before, the good news is we got room for you. Come on back in.
Yeah. It's funny. You look at this team and there's a lot of really, really good things happening. And I know that there's a freeze going into the Olympics, so there's almost like going to be two trade deadlines.
Two trade deadlines.
Yeah. So I think a week before the Olympics, you can't move anybody.
And we won't talk about the Olympic ice yet. We'll wait for that to come.
Yeah, but so I think you're going to see some movement soon. There's some of those GMs out there that like to get ahead of the curve, and I think the next week is going to be quite busy on the trade market. Speaking of, I just wanted to go over quickly, and then we'll talk quickly about the Olympic ice and wrap it up. Thank our sponsors and move forward. Did you have any more questions?
We do have one more from Paul, who writes in and says, and listen, I'll be honest, this is a good question. Bobby McMatthews, come alive, right?
Yep.
We all love the way that kid has turned the Jets on. That the other night turned the Jets on and went right in the score. I was thinking, like, last time I saw a Leaf with wheels like that, I was thinking Kapanen maybe, like where he could just kind of break away. I was like, where's that?
Yeah,
speed?
he can go. Yeah.
Like, where's that speed been? But what do you, the question is, what do you think McMatthews gets on his next contract? And just, if you're watching, we know his name is not McMatthews. I've nicknamed him that, so that's what I call him. But what do you think he gets on his next deal?
You may not like what I have to say. But he would be one of the people that I would look at moving actually out going into the trade deadline because of the value I think Bobby McMahon has in the market today.
Right now?
They were talking about him on the broadcast last night and saying, what the heck is Toronto Maple Leafs going to have to pay this guy? Right? So there's already teams obviously salivating about a big, heavy, fast, good hands, top six guy, right? So if you could parlay him into, a non-playoff team at this point, so they have his rights, and somebody that wants him long, I would think, and I think he's a Prairie boy. I think like a Calgary or an Edmonton or one of those kind of situations, or a Vancouver or somebody out of the playoffs. You might get more than you would think for Bobby McMahon. And I think that everybody comes back and they're bringing in some top six help. I think they generally do. He's the type of chip, because you know what he is now, right? And his potentials, you would think, down the road, but you don't know that. Right now, he's going to get paid on his potential. And I don't think Toronto doesn't have the window to wait 3 years for Bobby McMahon to be a $10 million player, because that's what the kind of money that a guy like that's going to look for.
So listen, like Bobby McMahon's never going to be a $10 million player. Let's stop with
that. That's where he's going to look at the asks now.
But here's the thing: Bobby McMahon is 29 years old now, right? He's not a kid anymore. He came to the league.
So he's unrestricted.
He's going to be unrestricted. Yes, he is unrestricted.
I thought
at the
he
end
was
of the year.
restricted. That changes
I think
because you could move him and they'd have his rights, right? No. Okay.
I think he's unrestricted at the end of the year. My thinking here is like if he stays, right? Let's say we don't move him, but I agree. Like, listen, Bobby McMatthews can get stuff on coming back. I myself, and you know my stance on this for this year. I don't want to see us add or delete very much from this team. I think this team is what it is, and we rock with whatever we got. That's my feeling.
But
on
if
it.
you had a chance at a player, I'd trade McMahon before I trade Stolarz or Wall.
Wow, would you really? That's
for the right player.
For the right, okay. I mean, it depends on who's coming back.
Somebody that can come in and make an impact today,
like somebody that was going to move the needle.
What's that?
Somebody that would move the needle for you.
Oh, 100%. Somebody that's a 35 goal scorer in the league. Maybe he's got 2 years left, a little bit more money, but you bring him in at the deadline. Yeah,
I mean,
LA has some guys like that. And
I can listen to that. I think if the Leafs sign him, I'm going to say it would be a 3 to 5 year deal at somewhere in the neighborhood of 5.25. Would be my guess of what he would get.
Crazy.
You don't think so, eh?
No.
You don't think 5.25? I don't know.
He's looking for 10. This is his last.
He's never getting 10.
I didn't say he's gonna get 10. I said he's looking for 10. So
at a top
if
end,
you're
he's
unrestricted,
a 25 goal scorer.
Do you not think this new owner, and we'll talk about this new owner in Utah, right? He's giving Billy Armstrong the keys and saying, "You get me who you can get," right? There's a reason why Kaprizov signed for $4 million more than McDavid, because this guy in Utah's Ryan.
He was poaching. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, he's.
But let's not pretend that Kirill Kaprizov is Bobby McMahon. Let's not do that.
I know, but you can't have 25 Kirill Kaprizovs. You need the Bobby McMahons, and he'll overpay a guy like that, right?
Yeah, that's fair too. No,
that's fair. Speaking of Utah, and the other guy that really, and I liked him in Philly, but I love him in Toronto, is Scott Laughton. Like, he's just that. I like the way and I see some mistakes and flaws in his game, but you have to go around.
That Philly game
is holistically. I think the presence that he brings, he's got. He plays like a bear with a sore ass. You know what I mean? He's always angry. You never see that guy kind of skate by somebody and give him a grin. He's looking at you like he wants to kill you every time he sees you. He goes back into hostile Philly, right?
That was money.
They love him. They still love him, and he's a Toronto Maple Leaf. Like, imagine that. So he's that type of player. I'm really happy that they went and got. Was the price high? Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think he's a Swiss Army knife. I love the clapper on the penalty shots, because he's going to keep doing it, and then you watch. He's going to get one.
And then
he's going to wind up.
100%.
He's going to wind up, and that goalie's going to come straight at him to cut the angle, and he's going to walk around the guy and just tap it into an empty net.
Do you know who did that? Remember who did that a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Jason Spezza.
Yeah.
Remember when Spezza was coming in and winding up, and then
fake the slap shot, goalie comes at him around.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that play. Deception, right? I teach it when I work with the kids on the ice. We talk about deception. The goaltenders are so good now, right? Why do you think the top goal scorers are the Bedards and the Matthews and the Ovechkins and the guys that can shoot the puck? And you have to. I mean, Ovechkin is an anomaly. He would just blast it through you, but the changing of the angles, with a little toe drag release, and what you're doing is you're shifting the goaltender. The goaltender never knows where the puck and
that
what
much.
angle it's coming.
And you only need half a degree, right? Like, Pad's going this way and he's coming that way.
Yeah, I teach it. I'll teach them. We'll go through a series of drills where they fake a slap shot, cut on an edge, go to the outside, drop your shoulder like you're going to shoot, lift up a leg like you're going to shoot, right? Sell the opponent, whether it be the defenseman or the goaltender, on something that you're not going to do. And that gives you the advantage, right? Like, I mean, look at the gear they have now and the size of these goaltenders. You got to have an advantage somehow. And that's
John,
changing the way that
half the time,
puck comes.
slide the puck along the ice. Slide the
Yeah.
puck along the ice. Keep it low.
Exactly. Yeah.
Keep it low.
So they got Utah. Utah's an interesting because for the same reasons I said that they'd be interested in Bob McMahon here. They're going to be right at the front of the line to sign an unrestricted Austin Matthews if he chooses to go to market. You can, like, he's very good friends with a couple of them. Clayton Keller, I know.
U.S. boys.
You know,
yeah.
Well, he was a Phoenix guy, right? So this is a franchise he grew up watching. So did Matt Nyes. I expect Toronto to win there tonight and really play well.
Well, keep in mind when we played them at the beginning of the year, I think it was game 10 or game 11. It was arguably the best game that we had played up until that point. It was the most complete game that we played.
So think about all the games that Austin Matthews played against the Phoenix Coyotes or the Arizona Coyotes. He was always the guy.
Often, did he? He didn't miss very often, did he?
No. He made it. So this is going to be a continuation of that. Then you go into Las Vegas. Love it. Can't wait. Right? Buckle up. There's going to be.
Listen, I'm just telling you, I'm going on record. Whoever, and there will be somebody, whoever takes a run, get ready, because that jersey is going to be the number one jersey seller in Toronto.
Yeah.
That guy, you know who I would love? It'll never happen. It'll never happen. But you know who I would love to see it from?
Who?
88. Just go in.
Well, he's liable. He's got a screw loose.
Take the penalty.
Yeah.
I don't even care if he took a penalty.
Yeah, he's liable to go in and cross-check him in the back. Or
first or second shift, get an elbow up right into the boards. I'm telling you, John, a lot would be forgiven with the fan base here with Willie. And Willie's enigmatic and does his, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great goal last night. But I'm telling
you. Tarp off interviews.
Tarp off in the interview, having a good time. You know what I mean? But Willie, I'm telling you, Willie could redeem himself very quickly with a lot of people if he were.
I think scoring that OT winner last night redeemed himself pretty good. Willie's fine. Willie is what he is, and but I mean, I don't think they need to focus on thinking about Mitch Marner. They got to go in there and be a good hockey team, and really, and if he happens to get a little extra little shove in the corner, then so be it. But that's the game, right? But don't make it any different. Jack Eichel should get the same treatment. And Mark Stone they should all get the same treatment. All the good players, right? That's how you play. And then Winnipeg, and then Minnesota, who's, obviously have made the biggest move probably in the last 5 years already, bringing in Quinn Hughes. So they're rolling pretty good. And then but
Minnesota is sneaky good. If you're not if you're not watching Minnesota, get ready for Minnesota. Minnesota's a very, very good hockey.
They have it all. They have it all now.
They're loaded.
They got the number one D to run your power play, and they got depth on the back end. They have a heavy forward group, heavy and skilled, and they've got two good goaltenders that are going to be similar to the two Toronto guys. Like, we don't know. They don't know whether it's Gus or the other guy. And I'm telling you,
if you don't watch a lot of Minnesota hockey, and I know if you're watching us, you probably don't watch a lot of Minnesota hockey. Kirill Kaprizov, guys, I'm telling you, he is as good as anyone in the NHL. That's how good Kirill Kaprizov is.
Reminds me of Fedorov.
Who, by the way, listen, shout out to Detroit for finally doing the right thing and retiring his jersey the other night. That was when I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was a kid and growing up, I remember I fell in love with Fedorov. Fedorov played.
Oh, you can't not.
My God, Sergei Fedorov was literally in my mind. Like, listen, I'm not talking about the Gretzkys and that level, but I'm talking about guys that day in, day out, you knew every game was going to be a problem with Sergei Fedorov. That guy could do anything he wanted at any point in time. Such a good hockey player.
Oh, well, and I mean, in the middle of the playoffs one year, they just put him on defense. He's a forward. So
Think
three.
about
They go,
Johnny.
you're going to play the fences
Think about
series.
that.
Okay? I know.
Think about that.
I do.
And I just roll with it. Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, okay.
And don't mind us.
Yeah,
We're just going to
sure,
win a Stanley
coach.
Cup while we do it.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Banana.
No, yeah,
Banana.
absolutely. And then, there's just a couple of league kind of Braden Point going down might be a big deal. I heard week to week today. So the charters I think they go on the 8th for the 8th of February. So there's going to be 25 guys on each team charter going to Italy. So if a Braden Point's week to week right now,
that's
you
what I'm saying.
know.
Is Connor Bedard the next guy up? I think so.
For Braden Point, probably I would think.
I think so. Yeah, if it's Braden Point, I think it's Connor Bedard.
Yeah, I do too. If it's Tom Wilson, it'll be Sam Bennett, right?
100% different. 100% different story, right?
I don't care if it's any of the D. It's got to be Matthew Schaefer. I don't think Devin Tays is going to be healthy, from what I hear, and his wife's due to have a baby. He's gone on record that if the baby hasn't been born before the Olympics, he ain't going.
Good dad.
He's staying home.
Good
Yeah,
dad.
no,
I like that.
Respect that, absolutely. But what if Matthew Schaefer and Cale Makar, they're going to break the Olympics? The skill and the kind of compete that you're going to put two.
Because if we're being honest, right? Like, let's be honest about it. Matthew Schaefer is clearly the next man up, and he's probably
should be there. He actually should be there.
Probably up regardless, right?
But I give the Team Canada guys credit. You just had 8 guys win a Four Nations, so we're gonna
ride.
They know somebody's gonna be hurt.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so too, Johnny. All right, so what are we thinking? We got 4 games between now and next week. What?
Utah, Vegas, Winnipeg, Mini.
What do you like here?
I could make a real good reason for them to sweep this, but it's just so hard when you're traveling through time zones. I think they're going to get 6 out of the possible 8 points, and I'm gonna. You would think the gimme out of this group is Winnipeg, and I'm gonna go out and say they lose to Winnipeg and then win the other 3. They beat Utah, Vegas, and Mini, the 3 teams that you'd think are going to be there, in the playoffs certainly, and but when it's that Canadian thing too, right? Toronto goes in and half the rink. I've seen the Leafs play in Winnipeg, and half the rinks or more has Leaf jersey. There's a lot of Leaf fans out there that go to that one game a year. That's it.
Yeah. Well, and you can make the case in Winnipeg that there's a lot of fans that just don't go. Winnipeg's got some. We won't get into it now, but Winnipeg has some season ticket issues. They got a lot of stuff going on in Winnipeg. Even when they're winning, they got a lot of stuff going on in Winnipeg.
Well, in Ottawa, there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening there. We're not going to get into that at all, but a lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire. So you never know. One thing that concerned me about that, and I mean, if you want to know what's going on, just Google Ottawa Senators.
It's not hard to figure it out.
Yeah, it'll all come up. And my biggest head scratcher, Johnny, was when the team released a statement. Right, that to me was like I kind of like how a dog looks at you like this a little bit, because
don't feed the bear. Don't
you
feed
can
the
go on
bear,
any
Johnny.
fan site right now and find the nastiest things said about players, owners, GMs, coaches, wives, players. It's insane, the cesspool that's out there on the internet, and it honestly raised my eyebrow when they released a statement. I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't pass the test for me. That's something that I don't know.
Johnny,
I mean, stay tuned. It's a different world, right?
You know what it was for me? It was very on brand for Ottawa. That's what it was. Ottawa's been that organization since what's his name from BioVale was the owner, and they've never, it's the LeBreton Flats. There's always something going on with Ottawa. Remember Carlson had it with somebody like there's always Mike Hoffman was there. Like there's always something
Yeah.
going on that's ancillary with that organization.
Yeah, they keep shooting themselves in the foot, don't they? You know,
Oh,
it's like they had a good team that, you know, they competed in that first round series with Toronto, and you know, it wasn't Toronto went in and beat them 10-0 every game. They had to work and a couple of overtime games, and
didn't Alfred like Daniel Alfredson, who is like as Ottawa is the day is long, didn't he end up with the organization? Didn't they step away from Alfred? Like there was something weird that went on there too. Like I don't know.
Well, that was originally, but then he got back with them. Remember, he went to Detroit as an assistant coach.
Something weird,
or something like that. Like he played his whole career in Ottawa and went to Detroit at the deadline one year to help them try to
like just bizarre world. Looks good on Ottawa. That's what I say. Looks good on Ottawa. I like listen. If we're looking at the week ahead, I'll be honest. You're much more optimistic than I am. I'm going to say we get two of the 6.
But if you looked at the lineup going in, including the Colorado game, out of those 10 points, you'd be happy to come home from that trip with 5 of them.
Johnny,
right?
this is what
you already have 2.
That's what I'm saying. So like if we end up 4 out of 10 instead of 6 out of 10, like
they're in a playoff spot. They just got to kind of keep chugging along here.
And I'm only saying that because Vegas plays such a heavy game, and that is the antithesis of the way we really play. So that concerns me going in. Utah, we're on a back-to-back. Hildeby's going to have to steal the show, which not beyond him. Listen, the way the kid's played, he's been great.
I think Matthews and Nyes are going to have big nights.
Yeah, and listen, the Winnipeg game, I think we get. I think I like the hometown crowd there. And Minnesota, Minnesota's going to be there in the end with Dallas. I think that's your conference final.
Yeah. Well, this is about as good of a test as you can get to kind of figure out who you are, right? And that would be my message going in, you know, from the GM to the coach and the coach to the players, is we're playing a bunch of good teams, right? And now there's 2 deadlines coming up, and we're going to be moving people out and we're going to be moving people in. We have to figure out what we need, and if you want your job, then here's your opportunity, because you got, you know, even Winnipeg, I know their record's terrible and they lost 10 in a row or whatever it was. Still a good hockey team. You know, they've got good players. They weren't expected to be last in the NHL. They were expected to be contending for the Central Division and, you know, the Western Conference, as they do every year. So, you know, it's not this team didn't get terrible and forget how to play hockey overnight. Nikolai Ehlers didn't make that much of a difference. He was hurt half the year last year anyway, and they still won the President's Trophy, right?
All right. Well, listen. Let's we're gonna wrap things up here.
Yeah,
we want to shout out to Bjorn Hockey, Don Cherry Sports Grill. Thanks to them as always for their support.
Open in Perry Sound. Get up there.
Get out there, check us out, and Johnny, we'll see you again next week. Go Leafs, go.